Lieutenant Commander Maya Santos pressed her boot against the accelerator, her jeep kicking up dust as it approached the remote military outpost nestled in the mountains. The assignment had come through at 3:30 a.m., leaving her barely enough time to pack her gear and make the 8-hour drive to what would be her new command. She'd earned this position through years of tactical brilliance and unwavering dedication. But as she approached the fortress-like compound, a knot of anticipation tightened in her stomach. The sun hung low on the horizon, casting long shadows across the checkpoint barrier. 2 guards stepped forward, their faces hardened by routine and suspicion. Maya rolled down her window, ready to present her credentials, but before she could speak, the taller guard raised his hand. "Sorry, this area's off limits," he barked, his tone leaving no room for negotiation. "Turn your vehicle around." Maya blinked, momentarily stunned. "I'm Lieutenant Commander Santos. I'm here to assume command of—" "Look, lady," the second guard interrupted, his voice dripping with condescension. "We don't care who you think you are. No unauthorized personnel past this point. Orders are orders." Heat crept up Maya's neck, but she kept her voice steady. "Check your roster. I'm your new commanding officer, effective today at 1600 hours. She glanced at her watch. It was 5:47 p.m. The guards exchanged skeptical looks, their expressions suggesting they thought she was either delusional or attempting some elaborate breach of security. The taller one crossed his arms. "Our CO is supposed to be some hotshot from Special Operations. You expect us to believe that's you?" Maya's jaw tightened. She'd faced doubt before, countless times, in fact. Being a woman in a male-dominated field meant constantly proving herself, but she'd never expected to be denied entry to her own command post. Still, she understood their caution. Security breaches were no joke, and these men were doing their jobs, even if their attitude needed adjustment. "Call Captain Reed," she said firmly, naming her second-in-command whom she'd spoken with just hours earlier. "He'll confirm my identity," the second guard snorted. "Captain Reed is in a classified briefing. Can't be disturbed. Now, for the last time, turn around before this becomes a real problem." Maya felt the weight of her service pistol against her hip. The medals in her duffel bag, the years of sacrifice compressed into this single humiliating moment. She could force the issue, pull rank in a way that would make these men regret their dismissiveness, but something held her back. Instead, she studied them carefully, noting the fatigue in their eyes, the tension in their shoulders, the way they positioned themselves as a united front against perceived threats. "How long have you been on duty?" she asked quietly. The question caught them off guard. The taller guard frowned. "What's it to you?" "Humor me." 18 hours, he admitted grudgingly. "We're pulling a double shift. Half the unit's down with some virus that's been going around." Maya nodded slowly, pieces falling into place. An undermanned outpost, exhausted soldiers, and heightened security protocols. No wonder they were on edge. "And when was the last time you had a proper meal?" The guards exchanged another glance, this one less certain. "MREs at 0900, the second guard muttered. Before Maya could respond, a figure emerged from the compound's main building. Captain Reed, a lean man with steel-gray hair and sharp eyes, strode toward the checkpoint with purpose. His gaze swept from the guards to Maya, and his expression transformed from confusion to shock to something resembling mortification. "Stand down," he shouted, breaking into a jog. "Stand down immediately." The guards snapped to attention, their faces draining of color as realization dawned. Captain Reed reached the barrier, slightly breathless, and saluted Maya with precision that came from decades of military discipline. "Lieutenant Commander Santos, I apologize profoundly for this situation. These men were following protocol, but they should have verified." Maya held up her hand, cutting him off gently. She stepped out of her jeep and returned the salute before addressing the guards, who looked like they wanted the earth to swallow them whole. "At ease," she said, her voice carrying authority but lacking anger. "You two were protecting this installation exactly as you should. Your vigilance is commendable, even if your communication could use some work." She paused, letting them process her words. "But from now on, when someone claims to be your commanding officer, verify first, dismiss second." Understood? Yes, ma'am. They replied in unison, their relief palpable. Maya turned to Captain Reed. Get these men relieved, fed, and rested. I want a full briefing in 1 hour, and I want to know why half our personnel are sick. We'll address medical readiness first thing tomorrow at 0600. As the barrier lifted and Maya drove through, she caught sight of the guards in her rearview mirror. They stood straighter now, watching her vehicle with something that looked like respect. She smiled to herself, understanding that leadership wasn't about making grand entrances or demanding immediate recognition. It was about earning trust through action, understanding the pressures her people faced, and turning obstacles into opportunities. The fortress compound spread before her, her new command waiting. Tomorrow would bring challenges she couldn't yet imagine, but tonight, she'd already learned something valuable about the soldiers she would lead. They were dedicated, protective, and exactly the kind of people she wanted guarding this position. The sun dipped below the mountains as Maya parked and gathered her gear, ready to begin.